Comrades, you are welcome. Today, we will talk about President Museveni's statements concerning the violence that has broken out in Sudan, in Khartoum, and the other towns of Sudan. The president condemned the violence and the misuse of force in a situation that undermines the progress made during the dialogue. And he called that violence unprincipled politics. He went ahead to call for a cessation of hostilities to stop the tragedy and mockery of Africa, by which I presume that he means that wars are a mockery of Africa, which cause suffering. These high-sounding statements may be they may create a wrong impression that Museveni is interested in peace and that indeed he's the champion of peace in the region. Quite to the contrary, Uganda under Museveni is the main hatchery of all the wars and suffering that have drenched our region in blood. Whenever wars in the Great Lakes region is talked about and Museveni's contribution to that, always rush to think about the wars of the 90s against Mobutu and the 2000s when Uganda and Rwanda fought in Eastern Congo. But of recent, warring developments have been happening, unfolding before our eyes, where Museveni has been stoking the fires of conflict within the region. In December 2018, actually on 17th December to be exact, 2018, two senior leaders of FDLR is the military outfit, the Hutu military outfit operating in Eastern Congo, the ones that are said to have committed a genocide in Rwanda. Two of its leaders were arrested coming from a meeting in Kampala at Serena Hotel. The meeting was held between 15th and 16th of December 2018. And the two that were arrested, one is Colonel Jean-Pierre Sekanabo, also known as Abega, and the other is Nyas Nkaka, Colonel Nyas Nkaka, who was the spokesperson of FDLR. They were arrested by the Congolese authorities, and this was at the height of the campaigns, of the presidential campaigns in Kinshasa, in DRC. Now, when the outcome of that election was contested, the African Union, at that time chaired by Kagame, asked the Congolese government to hold the pronouncement of the results until a delegation from the African Union came to verify what had actually happened. And Kagame was supposed to lead that team himself. So Joseph Kabila reached out to Kagame and handed over these two. They were taken by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Congolese Minister of Foreign Affairs, She Okitundu, and the director of the Agency for Intelligence, the National Intelligence Agency, ANER, called Kalevi Mutombo. When they were handed over to Rwanda, about 3 weeks after, our borders with Rwanda were closed. And subsequently, proof was established that actually Museveni had been coordinating the efforts of the Rwanda National Congress of General Kayumba Nyamwasa, trying to link them up with FDLR so that they form a united front, a non-ethnic front to fight the government of Rwanda. That was the reason why our borders were closed. And the main lynch person between the linchpin between the government of Uganda and Rwanda National Congress was a lady called Charlotte Mukankusi, who had been given a Ugandan passport that she was using to traverse the globe, mobilizing support for Kayumba Nyamwasa. Therefore, this cannot be the same person that is championing the cause of peace in Sudan, because he's just sowing seeds of war across the border. The main problem of Sudan is that the army is treated as if it is a private army. The Rapid Support Forces of Hemeti are basically a militia that was created by Omar Bashir to wreak terror, to unleash terror on citizens. And we have seen this happen in our own country. We have a whole plethora of armed forces in Uganda. Some of them are under the direct command and control of the president. We have seen an army created within the army, the Special Forces Corps, which takes orders not from any military hierarchy except the president and their own SFC commander. And that is what has created the mess that we are seeing in Sudan today. Therefore, it would be, a mockery of wisdom to try to exorcise problems abroad when you are breeding them at home. The army is treated as if it is a private army. Museveni's private army. And indeed, he's on record to always saying, my army. An example of this is the way our troops are deployed outside our country. Article 210, Clause D of the Constitution provides that all deployment of the armed forces of the military shall be done with the approval of Parliament. When they deployed in Operation Shujaa, they never referred to this provision of the Constitution. It was arbitrarily done just on the whims of President Museveni. Section 39, Clause 2 of the UPDF Act provides that for the military to be deployed outside the borders of Uganda to do peace missions, it must be sanctioned by Parliament. Just last month, our army crossed the border at Bunagana to deploy in the DRC under the East African Regional Force without following the law, because Parliament was never asked to sanction. Yes, the East African Community Summit agreed on the formation of the force, but to then take the decision to deploy, it must be with the approval of Parliament, which was never sought. And unfortunately, citizens seem to have resigned to this fate that the army is not theirs, that there is no institution that can check the military except the president. Now, when institutions of state are personalized, especially such important institutions like the military and the police, then you will not avoid clashes, inevitable clashes, especially when the despot falls. Because he will fall, whether he likes it or not, even if all other efforts fail, he's not going to live forever. He's not immortal. He will die. And when he dies, or when he's removed, then we risk seeing the state collapse. Therefore, this is to sound an alarm bell. Having given a stern order to call for a cessation of hostilities, what is likely to happen is that Museveni is going to deploy troops in Sudan. It's a question of time. Remember that in July 2019, immediately after the military and the civilian leadership of the revolution agreed to form a transitional national government, General Abdul Fattah al-Burhan visited Uganda. The first port of call was Uganda. He came to consult President Museveni. And after the consultations, he said that Museveni is a wise man. He called him a father who should always advise Africa. So we don't know what they discussed, but it is possible that actually the military reneging on its contract with the civilian authorities could have been something they borrowed from Museveni's rule book. Remember that he also promised a transition, a 4-year transition that has lasted for 40 years. But now that the army is, fighting amongst themselves, then he has a reason to be concerned. So those that work for peace, those that want to see a peaceful region, we need to get this person that is always promoting war, sowing seeds of conflict and discord out. Like Daniel, we must cut the tree. A stone must roll and break this statue of a colossus that is unleashing terror, death, and destruction in our midst. Thank you very much.